Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today on a beautiful Thursday. Very odd Thursday and beautiful. I've got a couple of odd emails today. Few from, I think I'm now up to 4 emails from viewers like you, from my imaginary BookTube friends that were odd. I mean, I get over 100 emails a day from BookTube people. But most of them aren't odd. Most of them are, I disagree with you about this, or I've got a problem with my dog, or, my mother-in-law is bothering me, or something like that. I got 3 or 4 today that were odd, that require pondering, and I don't even know, maybe a small amount of correction. I guess it's just natural. If you're reaching out to all the world and saying, email me, you're going to get some emails that aren't regular. But I also got a couple of other wrinkles that happened today that weren't from imaginary BookTube friends that were also weird. But still fun. A very beautiful, very fun day. The temperature is creeping up and up, which is great. The polar, just bone-biting cold of 5 days ago is gone. The weather forecasts are all saying the reason for that. The weather forecasts are all saying that the reason the temperature is going up and up is because it's going to rain on Friday. But I think we know the answer to that. At least I do. Because the weather forecasts are now starting to become unanimous of rain on Friday. It is not going to rain on Friday. Not even a single drop. I'm not going to be fooled again. But we have some mail that I thought we'd go through. Including periodicals. We have The New Yorker. Which I have barely looked at all. Oh God. I opened it. Dexter Filkins. Why do I know that name? We know that name. We've encountered him as an author. A profile, oh my God. Matt Gates, Through the House into Disarray, What Does He Want? With a fittingly satanic picture. Okay, well, I read everything, but that is, it's not going to be easy to do at all. What a revolting figure. Just revolting. But I also got the latest TLS, the latest Times Literary Supplement, where I automatically go to the letters page to see what kind of brouhaha is kicking up there. And sometimes in the TLS, when a brouhaha develops in the letters page, the editors will just let it go on. They'll let it continue as people write and then write back and then respond back. You can never tell what that will be, and sometimes it's salacious and really, really interesting. Other times it's very scholarly, and there is a brouhaha developing now in the letters page of the TLS that is very scholarly. It actually harks back to this TLS, and even earlier than that. Because, let me see if I can get the example here. The TLS did a review. Llewellyn Morgan reviewed a book by Peter Wiseman that raises a question. In the review of the book by Peter Wiseman, the question is raised whether or not the poetry of Horace, the Roman poet Horace, was sung. Wiseman thinks it was. And Llewellyn Morgan comes forward and says that it's not, that it wasn't sung. And in this letter column, Peter Wiseman is saying, well, I've heard that from everybody, that it wasn't sung. I'd like proof of that. I'd like you to cite something instead of just citing the last 10 people that said that. And I was thinking that would be the end of it, but no, in this letter column, we're back. Is it actually Llewellyn Morgan who writes back? I didn't even check. Let's see here. Yes, it is. Llewellyn Morgan writes a long, long email about whether or not the Roman poet Horace's verses were sung. So it's not this brouhaha. It will keep going. The editors decide when they're going to cut this off. I'm sure that if Llewellyn Morgan wrote 800 words responding, I'm sure that the original author is going to write back and just keep this debate going until the editors decide to cut it off. Who knows if it'll be there next time. I'll naturally be looking for it. It'll be the first thing I look for in the next TLS. But then we have a couple of packages that we can go through. One of them is a box. Both are fairly heavy. I'm hoping for a lot more mail today, but this will do to start us off. Uh-oh. Okay. The first package is unopenable. Without mechanical intervention, it's unopenable. And you know Steve's law when it comes to packages that are unopenable. The more trouble you have to go through to open a package, typically speaking, the less trouble it's worth to get at its contents. We'll see if this breaks that rule. There's absolutely no reason for this to be sealed the way it is. Just none. No reason at all. Oh my God, it's also doubly sealed here. All right, so this is going to be a piece of crap. Let's just cut all the way through this. There is no reason for this at all. I've packaged millions of books. There's no reason for this. But let's see. Let's see what it is. Maybe it'll break the rule. Okay. Right. Okay, there was no paperwork with this. Wow, all right, this is pretty confusing. All right, this might be an indie book, an indie author just sending me their book. 2023 publication date. Okay, this is by Janet Butler Haugard, and it's called Historical Tapestry, Adele France and John Lafarge in Southern Maryland. An oversized thing that does not have anything on the back, and it doesn't have a pub sheet. So I wonder, where are we going to get any kind of a description of what this is? Let's see. In June of 1923, the trustees of St. Mary's Female Seminary, and this is put out by St. Mary's Press, so there's a connection there. So I've got a siren coming here. They're not going to slow down, and they're not going to quiet down. Okay. The trustees of St. Mary's Female Seminary unanimously elected Adele France to be the next principal. A true trailblazer, she soon transformed the seminary into a junior college. After a quarter-century leadership, the seminary junior college evolved into St. Mary's College of Maryland, known as the National Public Honors College. For a quarter of a century? That's incredible. This book began as a project on Adele France. She was born in 1880 and graduated from college about 20 years before she was even allowed to cast a ballot to vote. Undaunted by society's constraints and inequities, both before and after the passing of the 19th Amendment, she advocated for women's rights to education. Naturally, questions arise about the historical context of her extraordinary life's work. Research for what was completed as a slim book on Adele began in 2009. Over a decade, the book has broadened in scope. Why? History. The need to provide context and perspectives for the hows and the whys. Oh, I love it. In addition to women's rights, given Maryland's unique past, religious rights and human rights are also woven into the background of this historical tapestry. This book is broadened in scope to welcome a contemporary of Adele France, John Lafarge, a Jesuit priest who served in St. Mary's County and became a prominent voice against racism. In this tapestry, 1840 was a landmark year. 25 years later, the Civil War would erupt. 40 years later, Adele France and John Lafarge would both be born. In 1840, St. Mary's Female Seminary was created by the Maryland legislature as a living monument that would teach girls of different religious faiths to respect each other, thereby reviving Lord Baltimore's original vision for a religiously tolerant Maryland. Two intertwined threads, women and religion. Also in 1840, the World Anti-Slavery Convention was held in London. Black men were encouraged to attend, but women's participation was forbidden. Two intertwined threads, women and slavery. In 2012, the author chanced upon a painting by Benjamin Hayden of an 1840 abolitionist convention held in London. The painting is introduced in Chapter 1 and reappears here and there. Like the steamboats that traverse the Potomac River and the Chesapeake Bay, this book zigzags its course through the rough waters of historical context navigated by its two protagonists, Adele France and John Lafarge. This book does not have to be read in any particular order. It can be sampled at whim. So not only a fascinating subject, but a fascinating way to do it. I don't know of anything like this. Okay, well, all right. So those of you who are in Maryland, especially those of you interested in Maryland history, you obviously want to get this book. You obviously want to get a copy of it. I don't have any meta information on it, but it has an ISBN, so it will be on Amazon. No idea the context of why I have it. But this is the second time in a few days that this has happened. If indie press authors are starting to send me their books, the more the merrier. The few that I've been in touch with over the years, I have made explicit the nature of the bargain here. I can't guarantee that I will review your book, but I can guarantee that I will hold it up and enthusiastically show it, talk about it, in front of 1,000 avid readers. That's pretty good. When you're an indie press book and you're not going to be stocked in bookstores, that's pretty good. And I welcome the chance to do that, even if I don't review your book. Like, for instance, this is a limited historical interest topic from 2023 when I'm well ensconced in reviewing 2024. It's not 100% likely that I would review this. But you now know about it, and it sounds absolutely fascinating. So there you go. All right, now we'll do the box, and then we'll be done. And I trust that I will not have to cut my way into the box. No, I won't. Okay. Great. We'll get rid of this. Get rid of this garbage. Throw it on the floor. What have we got here? Oh, great. Fantastic. All right. This is a finished copy. This comes out in mid-March. But I've read it, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it, even though you would never think that. You would never believe that I could. This is by Nicholas Money, and it is called Molds, Mushrooms, and Medicine, Our Lifelong Relationship with Fungi. Fungi. From beneficial yeasts that aid digestion to toxic molds that cause disease, we are constantly navigating a world filled with fungi. This book explores the amazing way fungi interact with our bodies, showing how our health and well-being depend on an immense ecosystem of yeasts and molds inside and all around us. The author takes readers on a guided tour of a marvelous unseen realm, describing how our immune systems are engaged in continuous conversation with the teeming microbiome inside the body, and how we can fall prey to serious or even life-threatening infections when this peaceful coexistence is disrupted. He also sheds light on our complicated relationship with fungi outside the body, from wild mushrooms and cultivated molds that have been staples of human diet for millennia to the controversial experimentation with magic mushrooms in the treatment of depression. Drawing on the latest advances in mycology, the author reveals what scientists are learning about the importance of fungi to our lives, from their vital role in supporting the ecosystems on which we depend to their emerging uses in life-saving medicines. And you would not believe it from that description, maybe. This is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. It holds your attention from the first minute. It is incredibly engagingly written. If you did not think that you could be interested in a book on fungi, this book will prove you wrong, even while it's grossing you out. When it's talking about the fungus that live on your skin, you will be grossed out. You will want to scrape them off. You'll think, ew, that stuff is on me? But the author makes the point over and over again that, believe you me, the last thing you want to do is get rid of them. It's utterly, utterly fascinating. I opened it thinking, this will be somebody's dissertation or somebody's left-handed exercise because they've got time on their hands because they're now retired, something like that. And it will have interesting factoids, but it won't itself be an interesting book. I was completely wrong. Just completely wrong. This is popular science done just about as good as it can be done. So there you have a recommendation. I don't think there's going to be a huge run on this at your library. Put a hold on it right away because you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. This is what Olive and a book Olive and I and a bunch of other people, this is what we talk about when we talk about nonfiction. If you don't read nonfiction, you will hear someone say, I just read a book about fungus, and you will picture a nightmare of daunish tedium. You won't picture this. And if you don't read nonfiction, but you're already disdainful of it, and someone were to say to you, well, no, I know you're picturing that, but this is actually very lively, you would immediately switch to a different track of condescension and say, oh, so it's not dry and dusty. Instead, it's Zim Pow book talk. This is neither. This is exactly the way it should be done. Actually, now that I have a finished copy, I can learn about the author. This is our author, out there with fungus all rearing up behind him, ready to swallow him alive. He's a professor of biology at Miami University in Ohio, and the author of many books, including The Rise of Yeast, no pun intended. Okay. He also did in the Very Short Introduction series, those books, the Very Short Introduction books, he did the one for microbiology. And here we have this thing, which comes out in a month, and more power to it. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. All right, well, that's the mail. A book about fungus that you're going to love. Take my word for it. You are. And what is this called again? Historical Tapestry. two trailblazers, true trailblazers in Maryland history. One fighting for women, one fighting against slavery. Just fascinating. I don't know that I'll review it, but I'm certainly going to read it tonight. so there you go. That is the mail for today. We'll wrap this up for now. We'll see you next time. Thank you, BookTube.